Kia ora whānau, you're here with me, the Māori Wargamer, and today we'll be playing a Warhammer 40K battle report. True. Welcome whānau to this 50 power level battle between the Genestealer Cults, the Cult of the Rusted Claw, up against the Sons of the Lion, the Dark Angels, here on the planet of Atreus, home of the Fate of Atreus narrative campaign, where my battle reports are set. So over the past 7 months, all the forces, the Imperium, Chaos, Xenos, all battling over this little planet, looking to seize victory here. It's a valued resource. It's right next to a Blackstone fortress, so a good base to explore that place. Other reasons why everyone is going mad dog over it. So yeah, they're set up and ready to clash again. And today we'll be playing the Data Recovery Crucible of War mission straight from the Vigilus Defiant campaign book. So vital data is being sent from orbit in canisters. The defenders look to recover this information to seize the upper hand on the battlefield. The attackers look to also gain this information and gain valuable insights into their opponent's next step, and hopefully determine in this war that has been ongoing. Alright, so the Dark Angels have set up a small operations base here on the planet and are looking to recover that data, give themselves the upper hand. What would that mean exactly? Well, I'm hoping to make more narrative, more consequences to my games. So that could be something like extra command points initiative for the next game, an extra 5 power level of units to purchase, that type of thing. Wanted to make more, better campaign, more entertainment, lasting consequences for the results of battle. So, whānau, buckle up, take a seat, enjoy the triumphant return of the Māori Wargamer after a brief hiatus to Japan. And looking after you have killed him. We're back with a full regular 40k battle report. We've got some new units in the forms of Atalan Jackals, all painted up for your enjoyment. Use the contrast paints, they're actually really good. So yeah, this is our table, this is our battlefield. What's going to be happening is supply of canisters are going to be dropping down anywhere on the battlefield, determined by the D6. And winner is the one who has the most of those captured by the end of the game. So will that be the Dark Angels, or will the Xenos, will the insidious Genestealer Cult seize victory? We'll find out. We'll go into turn 1. But before we do that, let's take a closer look at the armies that we'll be playing with today. So we have 50 power level of Dark Angels led by an Interragator Chaplain with a Crozius and a bolt gun. A 10-man tactical squad with a plasma cannon and a plasma gun. A 5-man company veteran squad with a plasma gun, 3 combi plasmas, and a sergeant with a power fist and a bolt gun. A dreadnought with an assault cannon, storm bolter, and power fist. A 5-man scout squad with sniper rifles, camo cloaks, and a missile launcher. A 5-man scout squad with 4 shotguns and a heavy bolter, and a rhino, and a razorback with a twin las cannon. And 50 power level of Genestealer Cults, led by a Primus with a bone sword, needle pistol, toxin injector claw, an Abominant with a super sledgehammer, a 5-man hybrid metamorph squad with just like mutations, 1 10-man neophyte hybrid squad, auto pistols and 2 heavy stubbers, another 10-man neophyte hybrid squad with auto guns, and heavy mining lasers, a 4-man Atalan Jackals squad. They've got 4 combat shotguns, leader with the power axe, 2 5-man Genestealer squads with rending claws, 1 armoured sentinel with a las cannon, 1 Goliath rock grinder with a bulldozer blade, heavy mining laser, heavy stubber, and a Lehman Russ battle tank with a battle cannon, 2 heavy bolters, and a las cannon up the front there. So we'll go now into turn 1. Alright, so end of movement phase, Dark Angels for turn 1. Scouts, snipers staying in position, eagle eye across the battlefield, right in the drop zone for the canisters. So when they come down, if anyone they don't want being on them is there, they're going to get blown to smithereens. This dude, Rhino with the 10 tactical marines roaring across the battlefield, looking to get an early jump onto position, waiting for the data to be recovered. So I spent 2 command points for infiltration on this mission to get my 2 guys within the center of the battlefield. And we use the concealed positions rule. So we're going with narrative over mission rules. So these guys, scouts, scouted ahead and got themselves in a better position. They've moved into the forest here and waiting to attack the neophytes through there. So we're going to go into the shooting phase for the Dark Angels on turn 1. Alright, so end of the turn for the Dark Angels, turn 1. Managed to kill only 1 neophyte hybrid. They barreled for cover, ducking into that crater. Managed to wipe out 2 of the Genestealers here though. Arguably the biggest threat on the battlefield at the moment. So not a lot happening. Everyone's setting up for the arrival of the canisters. We'll see how the Genestealers respond as we move into Genestealer Cults turn 1. Alright, so end of the movement phase for turn 1, Genestealer Cults. Lehman Russ move forward 5 inches. Primus, the battle leader, zipping forward as well. These guys have gone off here onto here, getting ready for when the canisters drop next turn. And the Genestealers are moving in to mince up the scouts. I'm a bit conflicted. Dark Angels are my army. So hopefully, you know, Grim Resolve, they'll be able to hold off against them, but we'll see what happens. We're going to go into shooting phase for turn 1. Alright, so Lehman Russ firing its battle cannon into the Rhino over there. It gets to shoot twice, so he's shooting 9 shots, hitting on 4s. Thought I'd better film it because it might be blown off the table in 1 turn. Oh. Oh, what? That one's cocked.
No, that is not.
4 hits, 4 out of 9. Alright, so 9 shots into the Rhino and ended up with only 1 of them wounding. D3 wounds, rolling high. Command point for that. Oh my god. Okay. The luck might be with my true army there. So he's escaped. Alright, finally, so end of shooting phase for turn 1, the Genestealer Cults. Using my Dark Angels dice does not seem to be working when I try to roll against the Dark Angels. All that from 20 neophytes and this tank equaled 1 scout dead and 1 damage off the Rhino. Yeah, bloody, just bad rolls. Maybe I'll use my other dice. Yeah, who knows. We're just going to go in and charge into the 4 scouts remaining there. Genestealer's going to charge into the 4 remaining scouts. Yeah, they'll be in, so they're going to make Overwatch. Alright, so successful charge in. However, you don't charge into Space Marine scouts wielding shotguns as the strength increases. And we ended up losing 2 Genestealers just on the charge. Crazy. They've had real good rolls. I've had real bad rolls. Something's not happening. But we're rolling 3 attacks, hitting on 3s. One hit, wounding on 6s to rend. There we go. That's what we need. That's a 6 to rend and wound. Alright, so the Genestealer manages to rip 1 scout to shreds, 3 more to attack back. And just knowing how the game's been panning out so far, turn 1, don't have high hopes for the Genestealer to survive, but let's see how he does. 3 scouts fighting back. Alright, so the scout's going to fight back. Thought I'd better film this because you wouldn't believe it, but it's going to happen. 3 attacks. Oh, not 3. 4 attacks sitting on 3s. 2 hits. Strength 4. Toughness 4, so 4s. 1 wound. 1 5-up save. Oh. So the scouts end up killing the final Genestealer, and that is first blood for the Dark Angels. And ends the turn for Genestealer Cults. Turn 1, very crappy turn, very lousy. Very lousy. We're going to go into turn 2 for the Dark Angels. The first of the cannisters is going to drop down to the battlefield, so we'll get ready for that. End of the movement phase for the Dark Angels, turn 2 in this Crucible of War data recovery mission. So the first capsule of information dropped right onto this point here. Coincidence, or who knows? I'm getting pretty whooped as the Genestealer Cults at the moment. So, you know, competitive side of me doesn't like losing, but then, you know, I want victory for the Imperium, so it's a double-edged sword. Anyway, these dudes piled out of the Rhino. Rhino stayed still. These guys here, he's also spent 2 command points to bring on automatic reserves in the form of the Razorback carrying the Chaplain and the Veterans, and the Dreadnought over there. So everything's pretty still. The scouts move deeper into the forest here after their victory over the Genestealers. Might be promoted to full tactical squad for that. But yeah, that's what's happening at the moment. They've got the objective. We'll see what happens as we go into the shooting phase for turn 2, Dark Angels. Alright, final end of shooting phase, end of the turn, sorry, for the Dark Angels after a pretty devastating shooting phase. Morale test and a lot of heavy fire. Only 1 guy left in that squad. Knocked off 2 wounds off of my Lemon Russ. Oh, he lost 2 wounds as well from the snipers. And we lost 4 guys over here. So pretty rough. This mission data recovery. The Fate of Atreus is heating up. It lies in the grasp of anyone who is strong enough, anyone who is bold enough to take it. And the Genestealer Cults have been off foot from the start of the game. So moving into turn 2 for them. Reserves to roll onto this table. Might change the tides of battle. So have all the faith in them. Whānau will go in. Genestealer Cults turn 2. In a movement phase for the Genestealer Cults turn 2. The Goliath, Rock Grinder and the Atalan Jackals moving in from the flanks, from the rear behind enemy lines, making their ambush, supported by the Hybrid Metamorphs and the Abominant, creeping in from the back, ready to carve up the scouts, and then seize this objective point here, currently under control of the Dark Angels. Across the battlefield, the Lemon Russ is chugging forward. Old mate here moving into the forest. The lone neophyte hybrid is going to tangle with the 3 scouts and earn some glory. Dudes here moving into cover behind the ruins. Objective of interest being the Razorback with its powerful twin las cannon. And then more reserves dropping up in the north here. In the jungles, the Genestealers are moving to can open this Dreadnought. So we'll see what happens. Certainly a shift in the game. At the cost of 2 command points, I was able to bring on the rapid reinforcements to turn the tide of battle. 1 more unit left in reserve for myself. But yeah, I've been off foot, so now I've got my numbers on the field. We'll see if we can make a difference and seize a Genestealer victory. As we go into shooting phase, turn 2. Alright, fine, so all a bit of huff and puff or nothing, eh? Not going my way. I've never seen so many skulls on my dice. Spend a command point to do d6 damage after rolling a 1, rolled a 1. Just rolled zeros all around, so none of the Dark Angel stuff took any damage at all. And yeah, that's all we need to say. Thanks for viewing. We'll go into turn 3 for the Dark Angels and see what else the dice may favour them with. Stay with me. Turn 3 of the data recovery mission there, Fano. The next canister of information dropped right here. So not claimable by the tank, as it's not infantry. However, a couple of units around who might be able to make the walk across. End of my opponent's movement phase. His dreadnought's rocking over that way. This thing's standing still. Okay. These guys there, I forgot to do something with him, but probably wouldn't have mattered. These guys standing here holding that objective, and everyone's, well, this guy's turned around to look to face off the horde approaching. Oh, this guy as well. We'll see what happens there, Fano, as we move into the shooting phase for the Dark Angels, turn 3. Alright, Fano, so end of turn for the Dark Angels, turn 3. The turns are flying thick and fast as the Dark Angels efficiently eliminate any threat remaining on the battlefield. So at this point, their domination on the battlefield is all but set. They're picking off targets now at their leisure, heavily defensed, and yeah, have all the advantage so far. The rock grinder here is blown to smithereens. These 4 still wishing they didn't drop back here. The 5 hybrid metamorphs gone. Wound to this dude. And yeah, they are in domination of the 1 objective here. However, we were lucky with it dropping onto our side of the battlefield, so we do have opportunities to seize a win. Remember, it's the most victory markers. If we're tied, then you know something's going to happen. So I'm going to make my plays as we go into Genestealer Cults turn 3 and see if I can do anything to change the pace of the game. Alright, finally, so setting the stage for the epic finale. Neophytes moving into the forest here. Old mate here is advanced. Out of sight, out of mind. Lemon Russ in position. The last reserve of the Armored Sentinel has stepped onto the battlefield. That's where most of the enemies mobbed. And remembering that the objectives could deploy even further, like down here on my line, so the next one for turn 4. So he's concentrated here. I've got to hope that it's not going to drop there. Yeah, so the game could be anyone's game. Atalan Jackals raced up onto the building here, did a few jumps, went up some ramps, ready to wipe out the snipers, who I deem to be my biggest threat at the moment. Abominance recovered his wound and is stumbling across the battlefield looking to smash some brains with his super sledge. So we're going to go into the shooting phase and see what shall happen. The game is far from over, team. If you thought it was, well, you're sorely mistaken. Alright, fighters, so managed to wipe out the Razorback in the back there. One of the veterans tripped and fell as he emergency disembarked. What else happened? Took out 2 more scouts, so only 1 more left in that forest. We'll weed them out eventually. Across the battlefield, nothing there. Well, brought that down by 3. So yeah, that was the best round of shooting we've had all game. Look to follow that up with a charge from the Genestealers into the Dreadnought, and a charge from the Abominants and the Jackals into these guys. Alright, so a successful Genestealer charge here. Lost one coming in. We got 6 attacks and we are hitting on 3s. 4 hits. 6s to rend. I think we'll wound on 5. 6s are in there. So 1 wound and 1 rend. That is AP 4, so that's 1 damage, and you get 1, I think it's -1, so 4 up. Which you fail, so 2 wounds. How many wounds does he have?
8.
Alright, down to 6. Dreadnought punched back, and the, super reflexes of the Genestealer kept 1 alive, but yeah, grim. Alright, so minced combat here. No losses made from the Genestealer Cult side of things. The snipers, the scouts are locked in combat. 3 of them brains splattering in the building here. And quick scan across the battlefield. So that objective there in control of the Dark Angels. This one up here, up for grabs. And another one about to drop in now at the start of turn 4. Stay with us and we'll figure out what's going to happen. Dark Angels turn 4. Alright, so in the movement phase, Dark Angels, the 2 scouts jumped out of combat and down onto the ground here. Tactical squad remains holding position. The scout in the forest has sprinted into the door and he embarked upon the Rhino. The 3rd supply cache, or whatever it's called, is deployed right here onto the Sentinel. Who can't hold the objective. But yeah, things are shaking up. Dark Angels winning at the moment. We'll see what happens going into the shooting phase. Alright, so holding off the 2 Jackals remaining from the squad. Just a quick look on them there. Painted up about 25 minutes. Using the contrast paints. Comes out bloody good job. Even like there, a couple of shades of it and it's done. But anyway, they're still there. They're holding position. We both don't have a lot left, so it can be anyone's game still. And over here, just going to go in and wrap up this combat. So the Dreadnought reigns supreme, squishing that last Genestealer like a bug. We'll go into Genestealer Cults turn 4 and see what will happen as we continue this mission, data recovery. Alright, end of movement phase, turn 4 for the Genestealer Cults, and in the snap of your fingers, Genestealer Cults are leading the game. Atalan Jackals moved 14 and advanced into position here on this information cache. The Primus scrambled his way up the building, and he's gone into and up against the wall in position. The objective is his. Down here, the neophytes have moved into the forest, taking cover and lining up their shots, with the Leman Russ moving in front of the building to stop the advance of the Rhino and get some quick shots in there as well. Over here, Abominant has jumped off the building and looking to mince up these scouts. And these guys here, too far across the battlefield to potentially do anything. Within 1 more turn left to go, so boom. Bloody interesting, the game of Warhammer 40K. Don't count your chickens till they hatch. That is the ultimate motto. We'll see what happens as we go into the shooting phase. Genestealer Cults. Alright, finally, so end of the turn 4. Genestealer Cults turn 4. They have taken the lead by seizing the objective that dropped here and the one that's dropped up here. So final turn, Dark Angels have to make some big moves to take things back. Managed to clean a few out of that crater there, and was unsuccessful in the charge with the Abominant. Would you believe that? Yeah, so most of his army's up here, the veterans, the Dreadnought. These dudes are his last bunch in here. So it's going to get pretty rough. I've got this line there. So it depends on where the objective lands, will shake things up in a big way. If it doesn't land near my opponent, then he's pretty much... Oh yeah, it's gonna make things interesting. We'll go into the Dark Angels turn 5, final turn, and see what will happen. So stay with us, don't go anywhere. Alright, so Dark Angels turn 5, we're going to determine the drop of the final information cache. So we'll start with the short edge here, 1 to 2, 3 to 4, 5 to 6. Oh, my opponent's panicked. Oh, 1. Yikes. And then 1 to 2, 3 to 4, 5 to 6. 1. So it drops here. And now let me read the rules. I'm not sure if it can drop in the same place. Alright, so it is possible for multiple canisters to be deployed at the same spot. Data recovery, so that has put me up to a 3-1 lead in the space of a drop. So, man, crazy game. My opponent knows what got his work cut out. He's got a few Tech Marines left, a Rhino, 5 vets up here, and a Dreadnought. So let's see what he does. Multi-Wargamer battle report. Alright, so Rhinos race forward here. Tech Marine staying in that cover. Dudes up there moving towards the bush, and the Dreadnought as well. So we'll go into the shooting phase and see what my opponent has planned. Alright, so the Atalan Jackal, the last infantry unit holding two objectives for me, weathered all the firepower, but there is one last shot from the tech squad sergeant there with the pistol. So this is going to make or break the game. It's going to take us from me winning to a draw, potentially. He's firing one shot in, hitting on a 4.
3.
Skilled Outrider, -1 to hit. Yes. That is a 1. And that's the end of his shooting phase, and therefore end of his turn. And I'm going to call the game there. I could have probably wiped them off that objective as well, but I'm happy with just a victory there, major victory for the Genestealer Cults. So we'll come back with a summary. Alright, finally, so a Genestealer Cult victory for this 50 power level battle report between the Dark Angels and the Genestealer Cults. A long game, been like 4 hours that we've been filming, but entertaining, I hope, and hope you enjoyed yourself. So what does that mean? What does that victory for the Genestealer Cults mean? Well, that information, they've got 3 bits of information recovered, so that might unlock them the location of the Dark Angel stronghold here on Atreus, give them a bit of advantage for the next game when they rematch next week. Next week, Wednesday, every Wednesday, Warhammer Wednesdays with your host, the Multi-Wargamer. Find out what a game it was. Turns 1 to 3 were not in the Genestealer Cult favour. We just lucked off with the dice, and my opponent rolled all those objective drops. So we got 2 there, 1 there, and that secured victory. Another interesting thing was he tried to shoot that, but I had screened it off, so he's a character, has to shoot the nearest enemy models, except for those snipers. So you remember I was pretty aggressive on hunting them down up there for that specific reason. They're the only ones who could ignore that rule. So A lot of rules coming into play, a lot of entertainment had across the battlefield today. Yeah, good game, good to get back into Warhammer, good to structure the objectives, the missions a bit more, narrative on them, a bit more planning. So that's what we're hoping to bring out to you every week for the rest of the year. And I hope you enjoy our efforts. If you did, then make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Give it a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and share this video with your family or your friends. Tune in next week, Dark Angels, Genestealers once again. Hope to see you there. But thank you for watching. I am the maoriwargamer. Ka kite. Ana.